going on, guys? It's Nubby with One Hand Tech Reviews, back to give you another review today. Today we're going to be taking a look at the X-TRONIC 6040 hot air rework station. This is the whole kit you get, except for the lamp. I'll show you the lamp here in a second. What you're going to get when you order this kit is the base itself, the hot air gun, the soldering iron, desoldering wick, an extra heating element, an IC popper, a wrench for your hot air nozzles. You get 10 different sizes and shapes of soldering iron tips and 3 different sizes of air gun nozzles. Now, before we move in for a closer look around the unit, I want to go over some of the general specifications with you. This unit was designed to resist electrostatic discharge. As you can see right here on the front, Esd Safe, and I can tell you I haven't had any problems with it. The hot air gun itself has a temperature range of 100 degrees centigrade to 480 degrees centigrade. Which is pretty good. It lets you get down low enough to where you can use it on heat shrink without having to worry about melting it. It uses a brushless ball motor for the fan. It gives you much better reliability, and because the fan is housed in the wand itself, it allows you to change it a lot easier if something were to happen. The soldering iron is a 60-watt pencil soldering iron. It has a temperature range of 100 or 200 degrees centigrade to 480 degrees centigrade. It's a pretty typical pencil soldering iron. It's a lot thinner than most soldering irons I've used in the past. Changing the tips on here is really simple. It has a 52-inch long silicone cord. The silicone cord is really nice because silicone doesn't have a memory, so when you wind it up, it won't stay coiled up whenever you go to unwind it to use it. The tips, if you guys are wondering about the tips, they are very reliable tips. You can get replacements from X-TRONICs themselves, and also the tips that are used in this kit are also the same ones used in the highe soldering irons, and you can get other shapes and sizes from highe also that will work with this unit. Now, this unit does draw a lot of power. The whole thing, if you got the whole thing running, it's going to draw about 700 watts from the wall. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, give me 1 second and I'll rearrange everything and we'll come in for a closer look around the unit. Now, here we are at the front of the unit. As you can see, there's 2 rocker switches, one for the soldering iron, one for the hot air gun, MIDI connector for your soldering iron, 3 tactile switches, and a knob to control the airflow. On the right side, we have 2 mounting holes, and that's to mount the hot air holder on this side if you'd like it, on the right side instead of the left side. It comes attached to the left side from the factory. On the back, we've got some ventilation, your fuse, which is really nice to have on the outside of the unit so you don't have to take the unit apart to change it. And you got your input from the wall jack. On the left side of the unit, you have your hot air gun and your holder. The holder actually has a sensor in it that will turn the hot air gun off when it's placed back in the holder, which is something new on this model that wasn't available on the 4040 model. And these are the 2 screws that you take off and put on the other side if you would like it on that side instead. Here's the soldering iron. Like I said, it's a 60-watt soldering iron. It'll do just about any kind of soldering you need, and unless you have some double 0 gauge wire or something that you need to solder. It's pretty thin compared to other other soldering irons, and it's really comfortable to hold. I really like using this soldering iron. Here's the connector that goes into the base of the unit. It attaches with a nut here to keep it securely attached, which is really nice. The base itself is just a normal plastic base to hold the soldering iron. Nothing fancy. It does hold a wet sponge for you to be able to clean your soldering iron with. Alright, now I want to give you guys a closer look at the soldering tips that come with it. And I got them lined up, separated by size and by shape. As you can see, you get 3 different sizes of conical tips. You get this chisel type tip, and then this is the actual chisel tips, or screwdriver tips, what some people call them. You actually get 3 of those, but one of them I have in the soldering iron right now. And then I'm not sure what these ones are called. These are like reverse weld tips. They look like they have be pretty good for connectivity. As you can see, this bigger chisel tip I was using to begin with, but decided to change down to a smaller tip. Now, like I said, these tips are the same tips that highe uses in their soldering irons. So they're really, really good quality tips. But just like any of the tips that are on the market, if you don't take care of them, they're going to oxidize and be crap pretty much. Some of them do have a number printed on them. I don't know if you can see this. KD 900MI. And if you can buy these directly from highe, or from X-TRONIC sells them also. I'll have to check and see if they have any other assortments than what's offered in the kit. But I do know that they sell these tips as a replacement if you need them in the future. As you can see, I went ahead and hooked the station back up on my workbench. The footprint of it is very small, and if you can see my workbench, I got a 3-inch shelf here, and I got my oscilloscope, my rework station, a backup soldering station, and my trainer pad for school for electronics, and it all fits up here without a problem. There's plenty of room. Now, to hook up the soldering iron, the only thing you do is get your MIDI connector, line up the notches in there, plug it in, then screw it down secure, just to keep a secure connection. Now, there's 2 rocker switches, one for the heating station, and one for the soldering station. If you turn the soldering station on, you can see the temperature come up here, and this flashing little light here means that the heating element's heating up. It doesn't take much time at all. Within 30 seconds, it'll be up to temperature. Now, to change the temperature for the soldering iron, what you do is you hold in the enter button for 3 seconds, let it go, and your first digit will start flashing. Now you use your up and down. Oops, I waited too long. You use your up and down buttons to set whatever temperature you want. Then you hit enter and it'll go to the next digit. You do the same thing. Set your digit for there, and this one, you hit enter, and then it'll go to temperature. The soldering iron will stay at the constant temperature that you have it set at until you turn it off. To turn it off, you just flip the switch. Turn on the hot air station. You flip the rocker switch for the rework station, and then this comes up with 3 dashes. It'll stay with 3 dashes until you take the hot air gun off of the holder, because the holder has a magnetic switch in it that shuts off the unit whenever the gun is placed back in the unit. Now that's something that's not, like I said, it's not available on the older models, and it's a really, really good feature to have. Now to change the temperature for The rework station, you do the same thing. Hold and enter for 3 seconds, and then use the up and down buttons to change each digit to whatever you want them to, then hit enter on the last one. This knob here controls your airflow, has a setting from 1 to 8. I'm not exactly sure what the specifications are for the airflow on this unit, but it's pretty decent. You can go up to about 6, 6.5, and not have to worry about blowing things off the board. And I usually keep it around 5. It seems to work pretty good. You pick your handle up off the station, and as you can see, it starts climbing, and it climbs really fast. And I don't know if you can hear that, but the fan is pretty quiet. I have it on 5 now, and it's not very loud at all. It's definitely tolerable. Now I'm going to turn it up to 8 so you can hear it at the highest setting. Now you can hear on 8 it does get a little bit loud, and just like on the soldering iron, it flashes whenever it's the heating element's heating, to let you know that it's working. It's keeping its temp. Now, the safety feature that's built into the hot air, the rework station, the heat gun part, is in the handle for the wand. And once you place this back in the handle, you'll see the temperature start going down. Now you'll hear the fan keep running on whatever setting you have the knob set to, until the temperature gets down to 100 degrees. And once it gets to 100 degrees, it will shut it off and go back to dashes again. Now, changing the nozzles on the hot air gun is really quite simple. They give you this little wrench that you can put on here to take them off, but you don't really need it. All you got to do is twist it, and it comes right off. Grab another one, line the notches up, put it on, twist it back, and it locks it into place. It's really quite simple. Now when you get this, there won't be no nozzles on it. All 3 nozzles will be in the kit, in the box. What I found works best for general use is the medium size nozzle, and on setting 5 for the airspeed. Here's the lamp you get with the kit. It's just a small gooseneck lamp, and it has a 5 times magnifying glass in the top, and it also has a 15 times magnification insert in it. The magnification comes in really handy when you're trying to work on boards and stuff. The light is produced by a fluorescent tube light. They're not really bright, but they do offer some good light. I'm using 2 of them on my workbench whenever I'm working, and it's plenty. Now, if you look down here, that board here is only being lit up by 1, and it's off to the side. Now if I turn this on, it shows pretty good light, and I'll show you also what it looks like under the magnifying glass. Now here's what the board looks like with the light off through the magnifying glass. I'm trying to show you guys a little bit how much light it throws out. Now my camera's going to go nuts at first trying to adjust the white balance and everything, but this is what it looks like with the light on. And see, it does throw off some pretty good pretty good light, especially when you're soldering these small SMD components. Comes in really handy. And the magnifying glass, the insert in it, I'll show you that in a minute, is really good for checking the solder joints for cold joints or cracked solder joints. It works really nice. Let's take a look at the 15 times insert in it. As you guys can see, the 15 times magnification works really well. It allows you to read chips, check solder joints, make sure everything's all nice on there. Now, one thing I did find about this lamp is that if you move the neck over to the side too far, the base wants to tip over. But for general use, the neck on it is pretty good. It stays pretty much well put wherever you put it. You just got to remember not to take it too far in one direction, or the lamp will tip over on you. Now, changing the bulb, if you could find a bulb replacement for it, does require soldering. It doesn't just snap out and you can snap another one in. Getting to it is pretty simple. It just has a few screws on the bottom side. It's got 5 screws around the housing of it, and then it'll expose this area here where the 2 wires come through the neck up into the bulb. And you unsolder them, solder a new one back in, and it'd be pretty easy to change it. Overall, it's a pretty nice addition to the kit. Although it's not expensive, it does offer a little bit of value, and you get it free, so can't complain too much. Alright, it's time to get this thing wrapped up. That way you guys can head on over to X-TRONIC's website and pick you up a rework station. The price tag on this 6040 rework station is $129.80. It's a very low cost for the functionality and versatility that you get in this kit. I've had this station since November, and I bought it as I needed a little bit more versatility than what the other soldering station I got from my school gave me. So I picked one up, and I was going to do an unboxing and review of it, but I decided to wait and see how the durability was of the kit and if it actually worked as was noted. And I was extremely surprised. This kit has done everything that I've asked it to do without any problems at all. The only problem that I did have was I broke one of the heating elements, and that was my fault. I took it off just because I'm nosy, and I'm going to school for electrical and computer engineering, and I wanted to see what was inside of it. So I took it apart and put the tip back on. Then I must have put it on wrong or too tight or something, and I cracked the heating element. But it was easily changed. Unsolder a couple points inside the wand and put the new one in, ready to go. But this rework station has far exceeded my expectations, and highly recommended from X-TRONICS. Now, like I said, it does cost $129.80, and it'll be very hard to find a rework station of this quality that offers this much versatility as the X-TRONIC 6040 does. Now, the unit does draw 700 watts from the wall when you're using everything, and that's not too bad considering you got a lot of horsepower going here, so it's going to take a lot of wattage to run it. Now, to recap over the specs, it is Esd Safe. You don't have to worry about electrostatic discharge with it. The The hot air gun has the fan inside the wand. It's pretty quiet. It has a temperature range of 100 degrees centigrade to 480 degrees centigrade. The soldering iron is a pencil soldering iron. It has a 60 watt capability. Temperature ranges on the soldering iron from 200 degrees centigrade to 480 degrees centigrade. The kit comes with 10 assorted tips, 3 conical tips, 3 different sizes, 3 different sizes of screwdriver tips or chisel tips, and then there is a knife tip, and then there's 3 like reverse weld tips. Like I said, the tips are of very high quality. It's the same tips that highe uses with theirs, so you don't have to worry about those. And as far as I can tell, the soldering iron itself is the same kind of soldering iron highe uses. It has the same connector and everything. It just has X-TRONIC's name on it. I can't really find a fault with it. It's been very good. I've used it in many different applications. I prototype with it. I build circuits with my son with it. I take boards apart with it, and it hasn't let me down yet. It's very high quality, a nice sturdy feel to it. It's got a very small footprint, so it won't take up much space on your workbench. And I give it a thumbs up. I think you guys should go out and buy one for yourself. So why don't you guys head on over to X-TRONIC's website at www.xtronikusa.com and pick you up a Rework station. Let them know Nubby from One Hand Tech Reviews sent you. And this has been another review from One Hand Tech Reviews. I would like it if you could rate, comment, and subscribe. Let me know how I'm doing, if you guys are liking everything or not. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. See ya.